Hello. At the back end of last year I was given these half dozen spring cabbage to plant. The problem was, because I didn't have space, I was more or less forced to plant them in this bed, and this bed has had club root in it and may still have club root in it. So there were a number of precautions I took before I planted these spring cabbage, and we're now in the spring of the year and we have a problem. I'm going to cut you back to some video that shows how we got to where we are today. Come back to me, tell you about the problem we've got if you haven't already spotted it. Then we're going to take one of these cabbages. I've just been given these 6 spring cabbage plants. It's a variety called Durham Early, and I'm going to try and get these into a raised bed. I've started to create some room now, things are coming out, so these guys could go in. The problem is, I've got club root in the raised beds. The bed that these guys are going in, I had some kale growing in there and some other brassicas, and when I took them out at the end of the season they all had club root, so there's club root in the bed, and these are going into a bed that has club root. So I'm going to try and minimise the risk to these guys by giving them a better start, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these guys up into some, I think the yogurt cartons that I have. I'm going to use a compost or that I know has had no club root in it. It's new compost, it's brand new sterile compost, so I know there's no club root in there. And I know that club root likes a fairly acidic environment to thrive, and my beds tend to be on the acidic side. So what I'm going to do is this compost, I've actually mixed in some garden lime with it to try and raise the pH level towards neutral, to make it less acidic, to make it less to the liking of club root. And then at a later date we'll transplant these guys into the bed, and hopefully by then they'll have a much bigger root system and be able to grow on and thrive, but only time will tell. Let me show you these pots. This is what we're going to transplant them up into. Well, I can't tell what you're seeing, but the white specks in there, that's garden lime, and I've also mixed it into that compost as well, so I'm hoping this is pH neutral, there or thereabouts, but certainly not as acidic as club root would like it to be. Okay, let's put these guys on. It's our root system, it's a nice wee root system there. Pop that in there, press it down. We'll put a wee bit more compost on top of that in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to give these guys a while to fill these pots with roots, and then we'll transplant them into the raised bed. I've taken out 6 planting holes in the raised bed, and this is the soil from those holes in this 10-inch bucket. Okay, so this soil is representative of the soil in the raised bed. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a pH test on this soil. I have been trying to modify it with some garden lime to try and get it up near a neutral pH, 7 pH. So let's see where we are. Okay, the meter's zeroed at 7 pH. So the first reading is settling out at between 6 and 6.5. So we're just very slightly acidic on our first reading. You'll notice the backlight has gone out on the pH meter, but it doesn't mean it's stopped reading. It's still actually working, and it may actually be better for you to see the reading. I'll just pop that backlight on again and see if it makes any difference. I don't think it will. No, we've got a reading of 6.5, so again very slightly acidic, so we're nearly up to that 7 pH that we were chasing, trying to get it to a neutral position. Okay, so we've settled out at 6.5 again, so again very slightly acidic. I think we're happy with this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line the planting holes with some more lime before I plant the spring cabbages, and hopefully the root system will be big enough now that these spring cabbages will actually flourish and grow on to make good cabbages in the spring of next year without being affected too adversely by club root. And the one other big danger that we have in gardens when we're growing brassicas, butterflies, because we're growing through autumn, winter and into spring, there are no butterflies about. It's too cold. No butterflies, no caterpillars. No caterpillars. Cabbages are fine with that. We don't want caterpillars on cabbages. We don't want club root on cabbages. So let's go and plant these cabbages. Okay, these are my 6 holes already dug to take the spring cabbage. I hope you can see that there is some lime inside those holes, just to try and keep this bed sweet, so it doesn't go too acidic. And these are the spring cabbages. Let's take one out and see what it looks like. Now I'm hoping that there's a bit more root on this spring cabbage than there was the last time I looked. Oh yeah, look, yeah, there are roots right to the bottom of this pot now. So we'll just sit that in that planting hole, like that, and then we'll do the same the rest of these cabbages. Excuse me, Molly, please. Excuse me. Thank you. And basically all I'll do is water these guys in and tighten them up a bit in the planting hole. Yeah, look, that's the type of root we like to see, that very fine hair-like root. No club root on these guys, not yet anyway, and hopefully there won't be. Hopefully we've taken enough precautions here. But we won't know that, will we, till next spring. So if you want to know if this has worked, then you'll need to visit me again next spring when we harvest these guys. So as you can see, took quite a few precautions there. Tried to get the root system a bit bigger before I planted them. Limed the raised bed. Tried to raise the pH level of the raised bed to a neutral 7, there or thereabouts. I think when we started it was something like 5.5, 6.5, which was no good for these guys. So I put some work into it, planted these. It's now the first week of spring here in the UK, and we should be harvesting spring cabbage. Did you spot this in the earlier clip? This spring cabbage has gone to seed. None of these cabbages have hearted up yet. If you have any idea why spring cabbages might bolt, why they might root to seed, please let me know, because I don't know. Anyway, what we're going to do now, I'm going to take this cabbage out. There's no point in leaving it in if it's gone to seed. And we'll have a closer look and see if we beat that club root. See if these spring cabbages are club rooted. Okay, I've taken plenty of soil with it, as you can see. Let's take that soil off. Let me just wash that root off, see what it looks like. Well, I don't think we've beat it, have we? That looks like club root to me. But in saying that, most of this root is quite fine and hair-like, so it isn't as bad as it was. We seem to be going in the right direction, but we haven't completely beaten it just yet. So yeah. The precautions I took worked in a fashion, but didn't completely beat that club root. But certainly all of these roots are okay, just this section here. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. This is Homegrown Veg, signing out.